Hello, I am Joe Rocky, and welcome to a special conversation here. In the world of real estate, which is our country's most important asset and industry, we're being hit with a very, very hard problem. It is really hard to get the lending side of a real estate transaction done correctly. And today I'm going to be interviewing a man who has owned companies on both sides of the fence. He owns both a real estate company and a lending company. So, with his perspective and his ingenuity of how to build tools to help fix this massive problem, which is how do we make it easier for borrowers to get the funding to be able to buy their houses? We're going to be talking today with Glenn Clark, the founder of Browse Lenders, and talking about his amazing tools and creation in which he has done to do this. So, without further ado, please welcome Glenn to the stage. And Glenn, a lot of interesting things about Browse Lenders that goes on here. Obviously, it's missions creative, but one of the things that jumped out to me in our conversation was this notion of exclusivity that you talk about and limiting 6 lenders per state. And on the surface, when that hit me, that seemed pretty counterintuitive. You're trying to solve a problem. Why are we only letting 6 people per state have the answer? So I want to start with there because this is truly a massive problem in terms of getting people to have loans to buy their houses. And if we can solve it, the country is so much better off. But I start with the questions. I always like to poke holes in the problems. But why do we only have 6 lenders per state as a rule for your platform?
First and foremost, Joe, thank you again for that introduction. The premise behind our 6 lenders per state is we do a rigorous vetting process to ensure that the quality that we have is better than just having an immense quantity of loan officers that are in a position to service the consumers and service the referral sources that we bring on to the platform. It's primarily a way for us to have quality loan officers that are in a position to provide solutions to the unique lending scenarios that they see when they have their position on Browse Lenders.
So, okay, so that makes a lot of sense. So by not having too many people, you're able to give a direction of a clearer solution. Because I think that that's one of the things that people see all over the place. While
Yes,
there might be many different ways to teach someone to ride a bike, if you hear all of the different ways at the same time, you'll never get going. And
exactly.
your way here, providing solution, makes a ton of sense for the borrower's perspective. I can listen to one answer and get a good solution there as a result. So when we look at this from the perspective of the loan officers, why is this something that they should want to sign up for and look into as far as being in a spot where, I mean, I like exclusivity, that part sounds cool, but there's still up to 6 people, so it's exclusive, but it's not 100% exclusive. So what is the advantage that comes from the 6 from the lender's perspective?
It gives the lender the advantage. It gives them exclusivity with respect to building their brand, being positioned to respond to scenarios that enter into the platform. It allows for those 6 lenders to promote themselves, their brand, and their products in a way in this ocean of lenders that we currently have in a way that's truly unprecedented. It gives those 6 lenders a voice that allows for them and their brand to stand out versus 300 or 1,800 lenders that I've seen on some platforms. Our curated list is a who's who, if you will, and it allows for that to bring in a degree of exclusivity that stands out and is recognized not only by the consumer who has their unique lending scenario, but by the referral sources that we also bring in to the platform to submit their clients' unique lending scenarios.
And that's one of the things that to me just jumps off the page is if you're instantly associated with other people who are doing the best and where results are found. I mean, as a real estate agent, or as a real estate agent owner, let's go to the top here. Are you going to be sending your people to, hey, just go find someone on Zillow and have fun, or go to this source right here that has solved our last 3 houses and now we're getting more deals done? To me, that kind of seems like a no-brainer, and that exclusivity actually giving more power and credence to be one of those who's, as you just mentioned there in your last answer. It makes a ton of sense to me. So this notion of the maximum of 6 lenders per state has a lot of power there. And just kind of walking through the steps in my mind, it seems like it's also a way of building up more trust and credibility, because you mentioned your competition, that is even the right word, is giving out hundreds of people essentially just, here's a list of lenders, like maybe one of them will be able to help you, but you're able to keep it connected of 6 powerful voices. That has to build trust and authority. Again, I'm making an assumption there, but I want you to get a chance to clarify it.
No, you're exactly right. It definitely builds that authority for those 6 lenders per state. It positions them in a way where they're able to be seen. It positions them in a way where they build instant credibility by being listed on a platform that has an ecosystem of roughly 1,000 funnels and resource websites that are sending business directly into the Browse Lenders platform. It positions those 6 lenders in a way where their voice is spoken without them actually speaking. When a consumer lands on Browse Lenders and types in their state and they're looking for solutions for their unique lending scenario, they only see 6 lenders there. And these 6 lenders are vetted, and they're a who's who, if you will. And it allows for those 6 lenders to be larger in this ocean of lenders and position themselves beyond just our platform, but in a way where their credibility and their notoriety then becomes their voice without them speaking. So a lot of the heavy lifting is done by the way that we strategically only allow 6 lenders to be in each state.
And I think there's a question and a clarification I'd like to make on that point, is that I remember, and it's a thing where some lending institutions will put just their own 6 people up, or their people they actually have. But really what you only hear is one solution. Like, this is that bank's answer to these lending scenarios. Is your platform like that? Or how do you guys determine what lenders get there?
You know, Joe, that's a very good question. Being a former loan officer, owner of a mortgage company, we were predicated to provide our solutions,
Mm-hmm.
and our solutions fit inside of our box. However, when a consumer comes in with their unique lending scenario, what I would like to have happen is that consumer, that referral source, be exposed to 6 different possible solutions,
Got it.
solutions that fit a different variety of answers for that one unique lending scenario. It gives options for the referral source, it gives options for the consumer without overburdening them with a litany of lenders. We keep it at 6 and we make it where it's concise, and those 6 now have a voice and they have the ability to stand out with their solution. So yeah, it's a unique process, but a process that is beneficial for, again, the referral sources that we bring into the platform and also the consumers that we bring in.
And that makes a ton of sense there, because ultimately what you're doing is, by having a breadth of different companies and different people on here, you're not basically just giving the exact same answer, but instead of this one being midnight black, it's just super dark black in terms of the
Yeah,
old Ford example. You can have any
yeah,
color as long as it's black. And that's what
yeah.
so many of other of these sites that claim they're doing different advice are really doing behind the scenes. There's not really a diversity of answers or solutions, and yours comes in a way what doesn't have that. And I understand that the power behind that from the borrower standpoint. From the lender standpoint, to me, it means that there's actually an opportunity to be a part of this, or at least apply to be a part of this,
Mm.
without having to have a giant corporate backing behind you. So, why is it important for lenders to jump into the browse lenders and apply now?
That's a good question. We're strict with respect to our vetting process. Being a former lender, it's vital to make sure that we have quality lenders being in a position to provide solutions. So once we have those 6 quality lenders positioned on browse lenders, we shut our doors. We shut our doors in that particular state. And once those 6 lenders are positioned, they don't want to leave. So it prevents any additional lenders to come in. Yeah, we have a waiting list. But
Mhm.
if you're if you're one of the 6 lenders and you're exposed to our ecosystem, if you're exposed to the referral sources that we bring in to browse lenders to utilize the platform, as mentioned earlier, the heavy lifting has been done. You position yourself and you don't want to leave. So that door for possible lenders to come afterwards has just been shut. But again, as mentioned, we have a waiting list that those lenders that come after the 6 lenders have been positioned can register for. That is something that we do allow. However, once those 6 are positioned in their seat, that's it.
And that makes a lot of sense. One of the things you said that was striking to me in that is this notion of branding and building success within the company. So, or within the company, maybe the wrong way of saying this, building branding that's not because of the company. So we see so many different answers out there that are, sorry, I clicked the wrong button there, that are basically just come to my website and then we'll put you on there as a member of the team. But there's not actually individual branding that makes place. So, how does that impact the situation with your ecosystem? Where you're giving unique brands for the lenders, rather than just another site of, hey, welcome to the company you work for, we have this answer.
That's a good question, Joe. In conjunction to being positioned on the platform, those 6 lenders will receive an authority domain branded funnel. That
Mhm.
is their funnel. It doesn't belong to their company. It doesn't have their company's insignia unless they want their company's brand on their funnel. However, that unique authority brand domain belongs to that lender, those 6 lenders that are on the platform. So when you have a loan officer, let's just say Glenn Clark,
Mhm.
and I'm a loan officer and I don't have a brand outside of myself, outside of my surname, if you will. But then I sign up and I'm registered as one of the 6 lenders, and I'm now given purchaseloanofficer.com, or I'm
Mhm.
given refinanceloanofficer.com or loansmd.com. It presents a different level of the ability to brand myself in a way where not only my referral sources will remember the brand name, my referral sources in conjunction to their clients will now see, oh, whoa, my realtor just gave me purchaseloanofficer.com to actually assist me with my purchase transaction. So what that does, it provides credibility instantly, authority instantly to the loan officer. Moreover, to that real estate broker, that realtor that just gave their client the loan officer that possesses purchaseloanofficer.com. So it allows for that loan officer to now brand themselves with an authority domain, a non-compete funnel, and build business directly into the intake form that's on their non-compete funnel that consumers see when consumers are online searching for purchases. Moreover, the referral sources see when they're sending and referring their clients to that loan officer. So it allows for that loan officer to brand themselves in a unique way that other institutions, other platforms are just not in a position to compete with. We do it in a way that elevates those six lenders so that they can procure a business in this ocean. And in this market space, it's vital to brand yourself in a way that the top lenders are branding themselves so
Mhm.
that you are considered an equal to those top lenders, the top 1 to 3% that seem to grab all the business. Now you're able to utilize the same mechanisms that they are utilizing with your authority brand. So that's basically how we do our unique brand building for the six lenders that we have on Browse Lenders.
And that's amazing. I mean, you can see how what makes this special, just from that answer there, is that part of this is from the real estate agent. Hey, I'm the one who works with him. I'm special. I get to be work with the refinance doctor. That's something that you get to do, and it builds up. So those are a lot of great examples of how it make it special having this high demand. And one thing that I really wanted to take away from that was you show that it's yours. It's not the company you work for, but it's yours. And there's just something about that. It's like, hey, at the end of the day, it's nice that I have a bank that's backing me and able to give these loans. But I'm doing this for myself and my family, and to have an asset that this powerful that's correlated to me, that is something that I don't think anywhere else is providing anything like that.
Yeah, that's true. I believe that it's vital for a loan officer to brand themselves and to have a mechanism in place that will allow for them, if they're at, let's just say, when I was a loan officer, I started at Mid America Bank.
Mhm.
And I built my brand utilizing my name. And when I left, because there's churn in the lending industry, when
Sure.
I left Mid America Bank and I went to ABN AMRO, I lost business with that transaction, with that move. Um, my brand, although was my name, I still lost business with that move.
Mhm.
What I've created with Browse Lenders by allowing each of the six lenders to have a unique brandable authority domain, that authority domain stays with them, whether they're with the Mid America banks or they move to the ABN AMRO bank. That authority domain stays with them. Whether we attach the authority domain to our non-compete funnel that we give to every lender that's listed on Browse Lenders, they can also, if their company doesn't allow them to actually list or have a non-compete funnel, we can forward that domain to their page, their company's page. so that their realtors, affinity sources, consumers will still be in a position to reach them by their branded domain. So again, purchaseloanofficer.com can be attached to a non-compete funnel, or purchaseloanofficer.com can be attached to the bio page within my company that they have for me. So I'm always giving out that domain name so that my brand becomes synonymous with who I am. And I believe in this market is vital for loan officers that want to stand out, loan officers that want to be different, to take the initiative and brand themselves. It's vital for business. It's vital for business today. And if they have any aspirations on being bigger tomorrow, it's vital for their business tomorrow.
No, and that makes a ton of sense. So to dive into a little bit of the technical side here, what really makes this so much different than basically hoping I can get my niche out there known, is that it can be targeted with you, shared, and it's already an authority Google recognized domain, which means that basically it's going to jump to you off the bat. So if I'm understanding, and again, the overall product here of what Browse Lenders is giving its lenders, it's giving the Browse Lenders system, which we're going to dive into a little bit deeper in the next section, um, people coming on and giving loans, whether they be CPAs, attorneys, realtors, just general borrowers, going through that specific site, but as well as my own personal domain, which is just for me. And I can see how there are gaps that if I was just standing alone on my own company's website, that I wouldn't be able to fulfill. Like, I'm just one of 10 people here in the branch. Like, are they going to click me or not? Well,
Yeah.
they're going to click me now because I stand out on this site, because I'm able to build connections. And it's not just building connections with a one-off closing, but actual the centers of influences, the real estate agents who need to have a closing this week, next week, and the following week. So there's a constant need for these answers and building connections with the right people. I can really see how Browse Lenders closes a lot of the gaps and the holes and creates more closings by creating authority, trust, and credibility. It really seems to be a really, really well thought process. It's a testament to show that you have been in the field doing this from both sides of the fence and what it is that you're trying to do. So in that answer, you mentioned this vast ecosystem. You've mentioned a couple of these awesome domains that you're able to give to your clients. How vast is the ecosystem? How much of the supposed rainforest that is the Google internet website, of these high lending domains, do you have a handle on? Like, do you have like just these three and we're talking about it, or do you have a lot?
Joe, that's a very good question. Our ecosystem is vast, and what I mean by vast, Browse Lenders owns greater than 1,000 authority brand domains
Wow.
that are geared towards the lending industry, from our trademark domain and website resource website middlecreditscore.com to cashoutrefinance.com, to conforming loan, conventional mortgages, non-conforming loan, all.coms, refispecialist.com. We have a vast ecosystem of authority brand domains that are geared for what consumers are online searching for. So
Mhm.
if you have a consumer and that consumer is in Illinois and they want to do a cash out refinance on their property, many times over they're going to type in cash out refinance or refi specialist or refi Illinois. We own those,
Mhm.
and we position those as either referral resource platforms that provide information to the consumer and then funnel those consumers whether they're inquiry on that platform into browse lenders, or we funnel those consumers directly into browse lenders from our platforms of 1,000 plus informative authority brand domains that we have. So it's a way for us to bring an awareness to our platform while providing solutions and resources for consumers that are online searching, because these consumers today are savvy. They are online searching. So we like to position ourselves where the consumer is searching. So that is a part of our ecosystem. Whether it's mortgagelenders.com, we own that one as well. We have a vast ecosystem of authority brands that positions browse lenders and our 6 lenders per state in a way that's unprecedented.
Yeah, and just going through it, you've accomplished one of the major problems here, which is I'm one of 5 billion loan officers in this country. How do I get seen? And this being a shortcut is remarkable, because the amount of time and energy that you've put into this is remarkable. So when we're looking at other lead generation companies out there that are trying to do this, it doesn't seem like they're going to really be able to hold a candle to this ecosystem and process in which you built. We've touched upon this in a lot of different ways, but what is the experience that essentially your competitors give that makes you so different? Might have had an internet bubble there. Joy of live broadcast.
Well, most competitors right now, what they'll do is if a what most competitors are doing right now with their platform, these lead gen companies, they'll get the consumer in. The consumer will fill out an intake form or call their number, their phone number, and provide information regarding their unique lending scenario. That then becomes a lead for the lenders that pay that platform to receive that lead. The cost of that lead is upwards of $150 per lead, depending upon the unique scenario or unique information that consumer provides within that intake. Well, when that consumer receives 20 different responses because their information has just been sold to 20 different loan officers, 10 to 20, it becomes a cumbersome process for that consumer feeling, well, now I just gave my phone number out. Now I just gave my email out, and now I'm being inundated. Moreover, on the side of the lender, now the lender is competing for a lead, and it's just a generic intake lead, and it's not something of substance. And with browse lenders, if you take that same consumer, that consumer completes a scenario, whether it's a manual scenario or where we bring in our patented process, a video scenario where that consumer tells their story one time. And with that one time, they're in a position to invite 6 lenders that are in their state to preview their unique lending scenario. If that consumer wants to invite one of the 6 lenders that we have positioned in their state, they also have that ability as well. They have the ability to invite one, listen to that one, select that one, or invite all 6 simultaneously to have those answers, those solutions provided. So it's a different method than just a lead, because we don't sell leads. We develop relationships that allow for those loan officers, those 6 loan officers, to not stand in the line of 6 other or 10 to 20 other loan officers that have just paid the same $100 or $150 for that lead to be in. We make it exclusive, utilizing those 6 lenders so that they have the ability to jump into the scenario and provide their solutions, a scenario that they have been invited to, not being reactive and they're being given a lead. They've been invited to actually.
And I think that difference is so massive and important. This isn't a semantics definition argument between what's the difference between a loan scenario and a lead. That invitation of, I want you to help me, versus, oh, now I'm getting bombarded by a bunch of AI and my phone doesn't stop ringing. That is a completely different experience from the borrower's side. And therefore, because it's so much more positive, you're more likely to move forward with it. So not only as the lender are you more likely to get better results, you feel a whole lot better in the process of going through it. And that's not a semantics thing. That is a huge tangible difference that leads to not just recurring repeat, but leads to you feeling better about your profession and how you're going about running your business every day. And while that's not necessarily the thesis of today's conversation, that's not something that can ever be overlooked either. So it does lead to this question, though, of, and this might be like a second grade question. I apologize. I threw this in here because it was something in our pre-talk that I wanted to address. Does being first actually matter in this current world of branding and AI and robocalls and all this rest of this stuff? How does that impact, or does it at all impact, me actually taking this person to the closing table?
Yes, being the first voice, or one of the first voices that consumer or referral source hears, is vital. It
still does matter.
Yeah, it allows for your voice to be heard, and your solutions to be seen, and your brand to also be seen. The way that our platform is structured, we allow for the consumer, in conjunction to the referral sources, to hear your voice and to moreover see your brand. So it enables that lender, one of those 6 lenders per state, to act fast, to act and provide solutions, again, to scenarios that they've been invited to provide their solutions to. So it separates those 6 lenders in a way that right now, just based off of what I'm seeing, is just not in a market space. It allows for those 6 lenders to be heard up front, and moreover remembered. And that's something that's vital. That's something that's extremely important. Heard and then remembered. Because in this market space where there's a lot of platforms that are giving leads, the consumer will forget what loan officer that they talk to. And loan officers that are vying for those leads, they understand this, and they will utilize different mechanisms to make sure that they stand out. Whether it's, if you're the consumer, you say, well, I talked to John at company ABC. That lender may say, well, yeah, I'm John's supervisor, and he wanted me to call and give information regarding that. So, and that's something that I'm seeing when I contact these platforms and do my own due diligence to find out what the consumer experience is actually like. You have loan officers that are not as scrupulous as you would want them to be, doing whatever it takes to get their voice heard. So
sounds like another testament about the exclusivity and the power of it, not having to deal with that.
That's why I structured Browse Lenders in this format, to allow for that to go, and allow for those 6 lenders to simultaneously receive an email either to their inbox on their website, or I'm
Mhm.
sorry, inbox on their email and or to their mobile device. They're receiving activated notices instantly when there's scenarios that pop up in their state that they've been invited to actually provide solutions to. So it allows for those lenders, those six, to be first, if you will,
Mhm.
depending upon who responds to that inquiry first. So it's an amazing way to get your voice out and to be heard and remembered.
Let's continue off of that. So someone comes on the site, they go and say, "Hey, I want to buy this house." What do they do? How does it work? And what is the what is the office that the loan officer goes through? You hit upon the end part where I get a text of it, but what's the in between, or is that the first step? Is there an in between? What is the full process to paint that picture?
That's a good question, Joe. We streamlined the process considerably. Again, utilizing my loan officer hat that I wore for close to 2 decades. The process of a consumer is them telling their story multiple times and telling their story multiple times until they find a lender that they're comfortable with working with.
Mhm.
So, Browse Lenders allows for that consumer to create their account in under a minute and 30 seconds, 90 seconds. They can create an account on Browse Lenders. Once that account has been created, and that 90 seconds also includes them being in a position, depending upon how fast they can submit their manual lending scenario, to create their scenario or their video scenario and shop it to the six lenders that we have on the platform. So it's a process that is simplistic in nature. It's a process that enables that consumer to tell their story one time, and to
Mhm.
then, once that one story is told, invite those six lenders in their state to preview their unique lending scenario. So the process again takes 90 seconds, if that, for a consumer to land on the platform, um, create their account, which that utilizing their Gmail account can be done in 15 seconds. It's truly a remarkable way for simplicity to be at the forefront of that consumer when solutions for their unique lending scenario is what they're looking for swiftly, fast,
Mhm.
especially in this market.
Dude, combining simple and swiftly, especially in the world where, let's face it, most people um, are in a lot of stress buying a house. There's a lot of different moving parts. There really doesn't matter what the loan situation is. There's normally a lot of emotion going on, and to be able to make it simple and swift, gotta love that. I mean, it just seems like a natural starting point. So
Yes.
we add this all up. How does it end up giving more control? Because that's one of the things that in our pre-meeting you mentioned to me and I thought was really interesting was, if you get a real estate agent who's a good agent, maybe gives you 10 leads a year that you follow up with, you have to treat all of them like gold, or else she'll give it the one, even if that 10th one really is never going to fit in your solution set. You
Sure.
still have to go about doing it. So
Sure.
how do you give the loan officers more control and essentially a solution to not having to force square pegs and round holes?
Joe, that's a very good question. Earlier, I mentioned invited. You're invited to provide your solution to a unique lending scenario. So, as with any invitation, you don't have to accept the invitation. If a consumer comes in and their let's say their credit score is 570, and
Mhm.
the lenders see that that consumer has a 570 credit score, but the program that consumer is looking for requires to have a 640 credit score. That lender does not have to respond to that invitation. That lender does not have to invest their time in with providing an answer to a unique lending scenario that they just feel they don't want to do.
Mhm.
Whether that is the loan amount size, whether that is credit score restrictions that lender sees being possible or present, whether it's the location or the type of deal that consumer is searching for. That lender does not have to provide a solution to any unique lending scenario that they do not want to be involved with. So it provides a layer of control for our lenders that we have in each state to be involved in scenarios that they want to be involved in, uh, have a degree of being selective, um, so that they shine with the tools and the products that they have within their arsenal. Um, and some lending institution, most lending institutions have products that they can beat other companies with. So it gives those lenders the ability to respond and beat and conquer, or say, no, I'm not interested in that scenario. No, I don't want to deal with that credit score. No, I can't lend for a 6 unit property with a storefront. I can't do that. So we have the ability built in so that our loan officers can be selective, which is
So
control.
when you look at that from this platform, it definitely seems to be revolutionary. I mean, obviously, you couldn't get as many patents as you did on it if it isn't. If it's unique, at least. Um,
Yes.
it seems like it hits it from it's going to become every real estate agent's best friend, because once I have something that's going to give me answers and it can handle all of the questions, and it can be in a way where we can pick how to do it, it just seems like a natural wave of the future. So to get aboard and to use browse lenders either as a real estate agent or as a lender, how do you go about in doing that?
Well, that's a very simple process. Or we have teams right now that are vetting loan officers, vetting mortgage companies, where we do our due diligence to find lenders that we want to align with. Browse lenders isn't for every lender, and we are structured that way, where we
Mhm.
vet every lender that we invite onto our platform. However, if a loan officer wants to be considered to be one of 6 within their state, they can simply reach out via info@browselenders.com. And we have a team that is ready and they are responding to those inquiries. Or visit the platform, browselenders.com, and there's a link right at the top that says join as a lender, and those lenders have the ability to schedule a call with someone on our team, and they will walk them through the process of becoming one of 6, or what it takes to become one of 6. And yeah, we can make it happen. Again, we vet everyone because Browse Lenders isn't for every lender.
Mhm.
However, if there's a good fit, we definitely would bring them on. So definitely give us a call, and yeah, complete our process and see if you can be listed as one of the 6 in your state.
That sounds amazing, and it's certainly an invitation that as a manager, I would want to have as many members of my team on there as possible, even if they're not necessarily in the state that I'm in. I mean, the plethora of benefits that have come out in this conversation, and there's even more that I've been thinking of that didn't come out. Like, for one, most people are kind of bound to the county they're in, more or less. And your platform is statewide. So I'm going to be able to connect with people that I would never be able to sell to. It's an instant multiplier effect. All that branding support is through the roof. And it just seems like if I put my people into this program, onto your platform, it's a cheat code for my own success as a sales manager, because you guys are going to have more leads coming to you, and I get to then teach you to spend more time dealing with actual mortgage solutions, lending solutions, than how to, I don't know, try to navigate cold calling hell, because that's
Yeah.
never fun.
Yeah.
So again, we didn't even really get into that, but that's one of the major results that I see from my world as being a sales coach. Like, there's a lot of major things, and as a sales manager, I would want to be talking to you about the enterprise package, because that is something that, to me, could really launch an office, even if you're struggling in, a smaller town and can't get a hold of the major city in your area. You now would have access to it and fighting in a unique way. So, not to
Joe,
mention crossing state lines if you're in a state where you'd rather play somewhere else but still live there. I know there's a lot of people in New York who'd rather be in Florida. This would open that up. I mean, so many
and
opportunities. The fact that it's all my branding, I can take my super site with me no matter where I live. Yeah, I mean,
Joe,
this is built on so many different levels for success that,
yeah.
like I said, if nothing else, just give it a gander. Give it 30 seconds to take a look see at it, because it will change not just your own career, but the career of those that you're hiring, and all that. So, like I said, so many different. I mean, I'm going to go on forever on a tangent at the end, and that's not what I'm trying to do. Go to browselenders.com, everyone. Enjoy it. We thank you for being here. And Glenn, if you have any final thoughts that you want to conclude this episode, there's something I was supposed to ask you and I missed, if there's something that you just want to share, let's let that
Um,
be to conclude this special.
I do want to add one item. For companies large companies that have the ability to lend in 50 states,
Mm-hmm.
um, Browse Lenders is structured so that we have all 50 states where you have the ability to acquire a seat in. So if your company is in Michigan and you want to have seats in California, Michigan, Florida, Illinois, you have the ability to do that. If you're a loan officer and you have the ability to lend in all 50 states, and you want California, but you are in Indiana, you have the ability to acquire a seat in California. So Browse Lenders is structured to allow you to procure a business in the area that you want. And as Joe mentioned, the area is the entire state. So again, you're not just predicated to just one geolocation within that state. You have the entire state at your
Yes,
disposal. Yes.
absolutely. So go to Browse Lenders. This is a revolutionary thing that, like I said, will be part of the future. And for those who want to be a part of the future now, click on there, browselenders.com. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we will be with you again next time.
Thank you.